Alrighty, folks, here we are. I hope you are ready for this one. We are going to Martinsville in these Gen 4 cars. We're going to hop on board. It looks like with the 69, he is going to take this thing back to the garage already. So, folks, I hope you are ready for some short track racing here at this paperclip. This one is going to be a pushing, shoving match as we've got quite a few laps around this track tonight. Welcome back in here at Royalty Racing Network. I am your broadcaster, as always, John Ross. We got about 4 minutes of warm-up, but what we already do have is your qualifying results. We got some points to talk about and maybe some additional conversation about schedules, as after tonight we're only going to have about 9 tracks, 9 races left here in this season. But let's go into your qualifying results. We're going to see if we can pop those up right there on the screen. Dylan, last week's winner, is going to be your pole sitter. Now, that was at a 40.01, but I want you to look there at Alex Anderson. He retired a bit early last week, just, a hundredth of a second off at a 41. Jake Raven right there in third. Ledesma is going to be in fourth. Van Kirk in fifth. Christian Proctor in sixth. Raffini in seventh. Nick Baum there in eighth. Matt is going to be ninth. Robert Altman in 10th. Jacob Wilson in 11th. Zach White 12th. 13th is going to be Kenny. Davis in 14th. And then Robert White, Marty White, is going to be in the 69. They're in 15th position, and that is going to be all of the Gen 4 cars that's going to take the track tonight. 15 drivers out here at Martinsville Speedway. Rachel and Rena already in the chat every single week. Rachel, Rena, appreciate you being out there with us, spending a little bit of time with us. I have heard rumors. There were rumors that this race had the record last season or 2 seasons ago for the most cautions in a single race. We eclipsed that at Eldora Speedway. They decided to bring it back tonight. Now, we only have 15 cars out here on the track tonight. Hopefully we can get ourselves settled in, but as it always goes with iRacing and Martinsville, it is just one of those tracks that breeds a lot of cautions. But right now, it looks like Rena out there saying, good luck, everyone. Rachel saying, go JD, this will be a great race. Rachel, we really hope that it will. I did see a lot of cars in practice locking those brakes up, so we're going to have to watch out for that as they're going to enter these turns 1 and 2 and going into 3, where they have some pretty heavy brake lockup. So let's keep an eye out for that as well. All right, so let's go back and take a look at where your points are. Let's see if we can pull that up for you. Oh my goodness, that is so small. Let's see if we can blow that up. We're going to just break this up for you. Now, Christian Proctor is going to hang on to your lead here in points. Jake, in that 37 machine, he is going to be second in points. Nick Raffini right there in third. Van Kirk is going to be in fourth. Shively in fifth. Altman is going to be in sixth. Kenny in seventh. Ledesma's right there in eighth. Gill in ninth. Matt in 10th. And then we've got Dylan and Zach White. So those are your top 12 drivers right there in points. Marty is on that cut line. They are tied, really, for 12th and 13th. Zach and Marty are tied. Thorndike right there in 14th. Shane is going to be in 15th. 16th, Alex Anderson. He was here last week, back this week. One of your multi-winners so far for this season is back in action again tonight as well. So hopefully we can see him stick this thing out for the entire race. All right, right now, purple on the track in qualifying front end, and that is going to be Matt in the 72. And if you remember last week, folks, that 72 had a nice little hot rod. Got into some trouble later on in that race, but man, he showed a ton of speed last week. So looking forward to seeing what he can do out here on this track tonight. As you can see, now that warm-up is over, we are going to tackle this track in these Gen 4 cars. Again, It seems to me the biggest issue we're going to have are going to be getting into these turns and locking these brakes up. Now, you're going to see some of those drivers adjust their brake bias throughout this race, because when they get in to this 150 lap race, when they get into one and they get into three, if they're underneath of another car, they're going to try to drive it in a little heavy. And when they do, if their bias is not right, they're going to lock that up, drive into the door of the other driver, and then that is where you get the cautions. We're going to see a bit of that, but we are going to have some beating and banging fun. This 70 car of Dylan, last year's champion, coming back in a big way, won a big race at Eldora, had a great run last week. Here we are talking to this gentleman, talking about this gentleman again, sitting on the pole. Alex Anderson in that 67. He is going to be on the outside with Jake Raven right there in third. Ledesma is going to be in fourth. I believe that might be Ledesma's best qualifying effort so far for this season. All right, so here we go, folks. That 70 machine is going to take off. Looks like the 67 running out there trying to get a little heat in those tires. And, man, we are going to have some fantastic opportunity to hop on board with some of these drivers. We'll go around with them, do a little inside the lap, as you're going to start seeing some of these vehicles. You're going to see the rotors glowing on these cars as they enter these turns. A lot of brake pressure on these Gen 4s to get these things wound down. One more time around. Again, we certainly appreciate everyone joining us tonight, and we are going to have 150 laps of fun here in these Gen 4 around Martinsville. If you like what you hear from Royalty Racing Network, if you will, just give us a like. We certainly appreciate that. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do that too, because we are racing and we are broadcasting these races almost every night. And you can hear a bunch of different broadcasters. You don't have to just listen to me. There are a lot of other broadcasters here every single night calling races for different series. And here we go, folks. 150 laps, that 70 machine, bringing them down to the start-finish line. Green flag is out. Nice and clean for most of these drivers. Oh, 67 is going to hold tough on the outside. Really nice drive through the center of that turn. He's going to have to take that wider exit. That's going to open the door to the 70. 70 is going to get this thing done and go into first. And now he's going to lock the brakes up, and then he is going to cut down. And Alex is going to have to stack this thing up, and I guarantee that's going to stack the field up and create that wreck. It looks like Nick Baum was the driver here that has wreck. Let's go back and take a look, see what happened. No, Nick is going to be on the outside of Proctor. Oh, yeah, he's going to lock it up too, and kind of the same thing that happened there with first and second. Don't see a lot of damage on that car. Not a lot of damage there on Proctor. Now, it does look like Kenny has decided to come down here at pit road. And let's see if we can go over here to the 71 and find out what is going on. Not really certain what's happening to this driver. I don't see tires going up, being changed. Yeah, not certain what is happening there. It looks like he's going to hang out on pit road. All right, so we're going to reset this thing. Dylan, still your leader. Alex Anderson with a nice run. He had a great start on that outside. Now, oh, Kenny's saying he's starting and parking tonight. Got stuff going on. Well, Kenny, I hope you're going to keep the broadcast on, because we certainly appreciate your participation, everything you do here for the league and for the broadcast. So hate to hear you are parking that thing. All right, so Dylan is going to bring them down. You've got Alex on the outside. He's going to start on the outside. Jake held on to third position. Van Kirk is going to be right there on the outside. You know, I felt like JD had a good run last week. Had a few incidents that I'm certain that JD would love to have back. Would have certainly had a fantastic finish, but he is right back up front now, holding on to this fourth position. Ledesma's right there in fifth. Now, we have not talked about Raffini. Raffini is sixth. There was some drama there, and it does look like you can see that 04. Let's see if we can go and take a look at Raffini. That 04 with some pretty heavy right front damage to that car. You can see it right there. Has some pretty good damage. But here we go. Lights are out on this pace car. We are going to rack them and stack them one more time. Just a few laps under green. Dylan's going to have control here in your Geico restart zone. And there you go. Green flag is out. Nice quick shift there by the 70. He is going to get that pass done quickly. Jake now is going to look underneath of Alex Anderson. Alex on that outside, really in no man's land. He is going to get a great drive on the exit of 2 and fall right back in line. Now, Raven is going to fall into third, but the big battle, 44-22, they are going to be tied up. The 22 is going to push forward nicely and get about a car and a half on the 44. Oh, and the 44 is going to get loose on entry. He is going to save it. He slid all the way through. Raffini slowed down, allow him to recover. Now he's going to get underneath, and that's going to open the door for him, and Proctor's going to be right there. Man, these cars just on that fine line of too much front bias versus back bias. And if you have too much rear bias in the car, that's what creates those front tires to kind of lock up. And if it's in the reverse, that's where they get loose on entry. And you can see the 44 maybe just overshooting his braking zone there, and he has fallen back in a big way, as now the 72 is going to get underneath. The 77 is going to follow suit. Not only is the 77 there, but Nick Baum in the 1 is going to follow as well. So Ledesma is going to take a big step back after that loose condition, all the way back to 11th position. You can see already the 70 out to about a 1 second lead over Alex Anderson. Alex went purple that last lap, a 19.35. So he is picking up a bit of speed. Jake still right there in third. JD is going to be in fourth. That lead shrinking just a bit, about a 10th. Looks like Alex about a 10th faster the previous lap. Now Jacob Wilson, he is starting to work his way forward. Getting by Matt in the 72. Matt still looking to the outside. I don't think that battle is over. I believe Christian Proctor locked those brakes up right in front of him. Man, Matt is taking a really nice deeper line. He's running about that middle entry, trying to work his way down the track. Yeah, just 1, 2, 3. It does look like both of these drivers, the 72 and the 51, are starting to catch Proctor. Now that battle is going to happen here for 6th position. Jacob Wilson on the march forward. Jacob is up 4 positions. Matt is up 1. Zach White right behind these drivers in that 77. Now Zach is up 3 positions as well. So all of these drivers starting to move forward, and it looks like maybe Proctor is going to work on slipping back a bit. 1.3 is your gap between first and second right now. Christian entering a bit hot. He's going to lock up that right front. You saw the smoke come out of that right front tire. It's all about rhythm, getting in the right rhythm, making sure you keep that right tire on it, and that's going to be rolling center, nice and easy. Let's go back here and take a look at Ledesma. Ledesma shooting down below the 77. He is going to get that pass done there on White. So Ledesma's going to move back up. He went all the way back to 11th position after that big slide, starting to work his way back up now, taking over that 10th position from Zach. Now the 44 is going to start to eye the one of Baum. But I'll tell you, as we look at those drivers all over the back end, Christian Proctor is going to be Jacob. Now, Proctor is not one of those drivers that is super easy to pass. The 69's in the wall, and he is going to touch Wilson on the backstretch. Wilson just getting right up against that wall, or trying to work against that wall. The 69 was there. All right, this has calmed down. It looks like Proctor might be running Raffini down. 0.8 of a second is going to be your 2 leaders. This is still your tightest race out here on the track, 25 laps into your 150-lap race. Jacob taking a more shallower entry and trying to diamond that turn. I believe that hurt him a bit. Proctor's rolling center very nicely, exiting that turn nice and smooth. That is going to be a hard pass for Jacob Wilson to make. I'll tell you, the play here might be just sticking behind this 13 and trying to work your way up to that 04. And see if you can save that battle for another day. Last lap, 19.78 by Dylan. 1985 by Alex. So Dylan was a little bit faster, but this lap, it is going to flip-flop about 1/10. So they're going to continue to trade laps. Your first 2 drivers, and that's Dylan and Alex. Man, as we say that, it looks like Dylan was able to put about 0.4 of a second on Alex those 3 laps. So it looks like Anderson might have slowed down a bit or got himself out of rhythm. Now needing to get himself back into rhythm and start tracking that leader back down. So as we have a second, folks, one of the great things that and there's a driver spun out. That's going to be the 69 of Marty White. That's going to create that caution, and you're probably going to see these drivers come down, get some nice fresh tires. And folks, while we do that, we are going to go side by side here as we get that commercial out of the way. So we'll be right back with you. All right, so welcome back. As you can see, we are under our second caution here. 34 laps into 150 laps. Marty White spinning there at the top of turns 3 and 4 is going to bring that caution out. No damage from any of these drivers. We still have 13 out here on the track tonight. Now, Alex Anderson, your second place driver, decided to come down. He is going to start now in 7th position. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 67 and how he navigates himself back through this traffic. But the first 6 drivers have decided to stay out here on the track. And here we go. Now the 70 is going to bring them back down. We are going to have another green flag, a little bit of a gap between your top 4 and that next stack of cars in the 72, 77. But here we are tight now. Underway, just a little bobble by 2 of these cars. Raffini bobbled just a bit. Jake Raven bobbled a bit, but Raven able to get out here. Oh, caution is going to come out immediately. All right, let's see if we can go back and take a look. That might be on Proctor. Let's see what happened here. So this is just going to be a stack up. And there you go. It looks like the 77 stacked up. Oh, and then the one just took off and just right through the back end there of the 13. Oh, no damage until Ledesma gets in to the back of Baum and pushes him into Proctor. Oh, tough drive here for Proctor and that one machine. Just a big stack up there on the initial start. Now Ledesma's going to come down and he is going to pit, try to get some repairs done. He is on pit road. You can see some pretty heavy right front damage on that car. Now at Martinsville, you're not really worried about aero. But if you have the opportunity to get it done, why not come down pit road and do that? And it looks like that is what Ledesma is doing right now. All right, Nick Baum is going to be on the tail end of this lead lap. He's going to get the wave around. Ledesma's out before he loses a lap. Nick Baum with some pretty heavy front end damage. He is going to stay out and get that wave around, get to the back end of this field, and he's going to stay on that, that lead lap. You can see with 1 to go, you're going to see Nick take off through that pace car, get him, try to catch up to the back end of this field. And there you have it. He is on the move now. He's going to try to catch back up. He's going to go all the way around. As Dylan now going to bring them down one more time. 40 laps gone. All right, now that pace car is going to go back in. We're going to go green again for the 4th time. Into that Geico restart zone. No stack ups. Looks nice and clean. Great start by the 70. Jake right there on the back end. It does look like Raffini and the 22, they're going to fight for 3rd. Raffini is going to get that pass done. 22 falling back in line. Right behind them, Alex Anderson looks like he is going to start pushing early, try to get some positions with those fresh tires. He is now going to get under the 77. That pass is going to be done. Now Jacob Wilson's going to get under the 77. So fresh tires starting to prevail here. 77 going to the back. Man, the 94 of Altman now is going to get under. Ledesma's not going to be too far behind. Nick Baum has caught the back end of this pack. And the 77 is just going to get punted all the way to the back. So Zach White moving to last in line here. As we're going to go up and take a look at this battle for second, it looks like Dylan now with a second lead over the 37. That 04 still has that right front damage. It does not look to have slowed him down at all. Go back, take a look at Anderson. Jacob Wilson has been able to get to his outside and is going to be fighting him here. Wilson not able to hang on the exit of 4, so he's going to have to tuck back in line. The 67 of Anderson is going to be all over the 72, but right in front of them, it looks like Kirk now, Van Kirk underneath of Raffini. So JD stretching his legs, showing some muscle here. Early on in this 22, he is going to stay down to the bottom side here through 1 and 2. They're going to be side by side. A little lockup by the 22. Raffini holding strong on the outside. He is going to defend that position and keep it. And now it looks like he is going to go way high in overdrive entry. That definitely gets that pass done for the 22. So JD is going to be up to third. Raffini's going to fall back. Alex Anderson starting to work the high side to try to get by some of these drivers. Not able to do that, and he's going to fall back in line. Van Kirk looks like he has got this Gen 4 hooked up, especially on the exit of 2. Anderson still working the back end of Matt in the 72. Anderson took those tires. You can see that right front rotor glowing on Anderson's car, and here he goes. He's going to shoot the bottom. 72 looked like he gave him a little room. Then he's going to close the door. Now he's going to be side by side here on the exit. Door to door, wheel to wheel they go here on the entry of 3. This is going to be for 5th position, and it looks like the 67 is going to get that done. Now, Wilson's going to try to follow him through, and right behind him is going to be Proctor. So Wilson's going to get that done. I think the 72 is going to slam the door on Proctor. Now Wilson's going to lock up on the entry. Man, I just feel like the 72 is struggling to hang on to that car on entry, just working his way up the track. Man, Jacob is just off rhythm. Off rhythm right now. He's locked up about 2 laps in a row getting in. He does have a bit of right front damage. Oh, now we're going to have a slide. That might have been Proctor. Proctor did. He slid. He probably jumped up on that berm, got that car a bit loose, and now he's going to get kicked to the back. We're going to keep going through this field. 55 laps already in the books. Now Anderson is going to work on the back end of Raffini. Raffini in the 04 car. And he looks to be extremely close to Van Kirk. Van Kirk is in 3rd. Jake Raven is right there in 2nd. So you've got 3rd, 4th, 5th in a line under a blanket here, 56 laps in. We know Anderson has those fresher tires. He's going to look below now. It looks like the 04 is going to give him the room. That's going to allow the 67 to get down underneath of him here. Just a bit of a dive bomb move. And that's what you have to do sometimes at these short tracks. You just got to show early and just take those runs where you can. So that's going to bump Raffini back 1 position. Anderson now all the way back up to 4th. And it looks like Dylan is starting to stretch this lead out, 1.6 over Jake Raven. as now the 67 starting to work on JD. Now, as we do most of these races, we like to hop on board, just see what it's like to take a couple of laps around the track. And we are going to do that right here, right now with this 67 machine of Alex Anderson. All right, so that is what it looks like to be going around this track in that Gen 4 car with Anderson there in the 67 as he is working on the back end of Van Kirk. And it does look like JD might be getting a bit tight on the exit of 3 and 4. It looks to be where the 67 is probably going to try to pounce us. Now you can see he is trying to work that bottom, but it looks like JD has a nice, calm, steady car today, running a fantastic and nicely defensive line. And when you get into these short tracks, that's what happens to you. You kind of get lulled into the rhythm of the car in front of you, and it gets hard to get out of that rhythm and start pushing a bit harder. But it looks like the 67 is going to have to do that if he wants to work his way up front. Now, JD is starting to slowly catch Raven in front of him. That down to 1.2 seconds now. So both of these drivers look to be a bit faster than your second place car at this moment. 2.3 seconds behind your leader there of Dylan. All right, so the 67 is still working on the back end of the 22. This is your tightest battle throughout your race here. Right now, we are coming dangerously close to halfway through this race. Just a few laps before that is happening. Now 2.5 seconds is going to be your lead. And here he goes, 67 taking a look down, and it looks like JD's able to close the door. Now Jake Raven is going to lock those tires up. Great run by the 67 on the exit of 4. Still not able to get it done. 22 running a fantastic line. Man, it looks like the 67, it looks like his patience is starting to run out a bit. 3.2 seconds now as Dylan is putting a gap on these drivers at this point. Oh, 67 getting loose, trying to get that rotation off of the turn. He can't get there. Now it does look like the 22 is going to lock up on the entry. That's going to open the door to the 67. I think kind of forcing his way through. Nice and clean. Great respect by both of those drivers. And it looks like Anderson's going to get that pass done. Now he's going to be up to third. And he's going to be on the hunt for Jake Raven quick and fast. Now we're going to go right back here to Christian Proctor and Zach White. Nick Baum right in front of these two drivers as well. So a three-way battle for your 10th position. Now Christian is going to get a bit loose on the exit of 4, chase it down to the inside wall, and get himself right back in line. But right now it looks like Zach White is the driver on the move, starting to look underneath of Nick. Nick looks like he's trying to take a higher line, get the turn down on the exit. Not quite able to do that. He's going to stay in line here right behind Nick Baum. Proctor has some front end damage. Nick with a lot of front end damage in that one. Again, I don't think that's going to create a whole lot of issues for either one of those drivers. All right, that has kind of cooled a bit, but we're going to go right back here as this has still been a pretty hot battle. JD not allowing the 67 to get too far away from him. Ruffini looks like he has started to make a comeback here on these two drivers as he is right behind JD now. With a couple of really good turns, is going to space out about 5 or 6 car lengths. And it does look like we have a ton of smoke up ahead of us. No harm, no foul, it looks like, as the 67 is now trying to track down Jake for that second position. Jake is just running a fantastic race out here tonight. Took his position as soon as he could, started saving tires. You do have the fresher tires in the 67, tracking him down now. But he has run a great race. Both of these drivers really putting a decent gap on these two drivers, as now Ruffini has clawed his way back to JD. And now these two drivers are going to start wrestling over that 4th position as Ruffini has run him down. Now starting to work on the back end of the 22 as it looks like the 67 coming down to get his pit serviced on. Odd move there by Alex Anderson coming down to get it done. I don't know if your lap times, a 1989 by Dylan last lap. I'm not sure if your lap times are that far off. But it looks like all of these drivers are going to have to come down and get service done one more time. Christian Proctor looks like he has started to pit. Alex Anderson is now out of the pits. Both of those drivers nice and clean, no flags. Remember, Feeney's entry working very nicely for him right now. Looks like JD is struggling a bit to get it to rotate in the center of the turn. So you would like to see JD back that turn up just a little bit, get some better rotation. See how he's just pushing up in the apex of that turn. You want him to back that entry off slightly, about half a car, so that he gets a better entry and gets that drive off of that turn like he did right there. Really nice turn there by the 22, putting about a car length between him and the 04. Oh, 04 is going to get extremely loose on the entry, so Raffini is pushing that car. You can tell by the braking points as he gets ever so closer to the back bumper of the 22. 5 seconds now, your gap between Jake Raven and Dylan in the 70. Anderson is back out. Proctor is back out. Zach White, Nick Baum, Robert Altman, all of those drivers a lap down. They are definitely going to be pushing to try to get that lap back the old-fashioned way if they can. All right, let's see if we can go up and take a look at the 37. Christian Proctor coming out of those pits in front of Jake. Jake now trying to get by him as much as he can, because behind him, he has a mirror full of the 22 and the 04. All right, here is your leader. We would be remiss if we do not give him some screen time. That's 70 Machine, and he is going to get a little loose on entry, turning some fantastic lap times. That last lap, a 1994. So still, oh, and now he is going to come down pit road and get that service done. So we are going to have a shakeup here. It does look like Van Kirk is going to stay out as Jake is coming down pit road. So is Raffini. So the 22 staying out on this track. 101 laps in, only 49 to go, and that is going to go in a hurry, folks, as we can get about 5 laps done in a minute. I'm sorry, in a minute and a half. So we don't have long to go, and it looks like JD is trying to stay out, maybe catch that caution and catch these drivers a lap down. Now, let's see where everybody comes out. Dylan still down pit. Dylan, folks, Dylan has gotten a black flag for too fast pit entry. He is being held for 40 seconds. That is going to flip this race right on his head. And not only did he get that, but Jake Raven in the 37 is having to come back down for too quick on pit exit, black flag. So now your two front runners, Jake in the 37, Dylan in the 70, both of those drivers black flagged, entering and exiting the pit lane too quickly. And now that is going to turn everything upside down. And now Christian Proctor's going to slide through the entry of 1 and 2. And that just turns everything over. We're going to have to see how this is all going to work out, as Proctor, right behind the 22, very well might be your leader once all of these drivers come down pit road with 43 laps to go. Man, Dylan in that 70 now 3 laps down. Yeah, Rena, that was a crazy shakeup, and I didn't even realize it until I went and started to look at the 70. We wanted to see how he was going to come out on the track, and he was still sitting on pit road. But him and the 37, both with black flags. Now the 22, still your leader. Now 41 laps to go. You know, sometimes these races lull you to sleep a little bit. 22 now is going to come down and get his service done. Nice and easy down pit road. You know that he probably heard that over the radio. He is well aware of what happened to these other drivers. So he is going to make this a nice, smooth pit entry. That is going to turn this thing over to Jacob Wilson. And as you see Wilson as your leader, I believe Proctor is going to be your leader once these other drivers, the 3 in front of him, and that is going to be Ledesma, Matt in the 72, and Jacob Wilson, when all of those drivers have to come down pit road. Oh, and the caution is out. Caution is out. Several cars involved in this. It looks like the 72 of Matt. What a huge break for Jacob. Matt and Ledesma, Proctor as well. White and Altman. So all 6 of those drivers with the 67, Raffini and JD, all 3 of those drivers, the 67 will get that lucky. The 67 will not get the lucky dog. He was involved in that crash. So your lucky dog is going to go to Raffini. Van Kirk will take the wave around, but they're all going to be behind these drivers here. Big damage to Jake Raven. Let's go and take a look at what happened here, folks. And here you go, Matt in the 72. He's going to get in. He's going to lock those tires up. All right, everything is good here. Oh, 70's just going to get in the back. He's going to overdrive it, get in the back of him. Yeah, that's going to stack everybody up. Yeah, 70 just really putting the throttle down through the center of that turn, not expecting the 72 to be a little bit more off pace than what he was, but the 70 with fresh tires and probably driving a little bit more possessed than what he normally does, might have gotten on the throttle a little bit too soon, upended, and then you got a 4-car pileup. All right, it does look like the 70 is going to come down. He is going to get more service done. Alex Anderson, he is going to have to get some repairs done to this car. So the problem now for Anderson is he's not able to take that wave around. So he is going to stay a lap down, trying to get some damage repaired. Man, what a huge shakeup. Christian Proctor, Jacob Wilson. Ledesma's going to be right there. Ledesma's going to be in third. I don't know how the 70 is where he is, being a lap down, but here we go. Jacob hard on the gas pedal. Oh, it looks like Proctor is going to spin the tires. But Jacob Wilson is going to get this done. And now Christian Proctor is under fire from the 22. 22 is a lap car. One lap down now. Now Ledesma's going to go in. He is going for second. He's going to get that pass done as Christian Proctor starting to struggle. And he is locking up on the entry. He's going to be right back to the back end of the 44. Get that position secured. And there he goes. 44 is going to go around. There's not going to be a caution right now. The 44 saved it. No caution. That's probably the caution that Dylan needed in the 70. Rita said, watching both you and Dancing with the Stars. So I had to go back and see what happened, Rita. I'm hurt. But I understand. All right, so Wilson out to a great lead. Jacob Wilson now with a 2.5 second lead here on Proctor. JD is driving the wheels off of this 22 machine. He is trying to get this passed on. He wants that lap back the old-fashioned way. And I believe Jacob is just going to allow him to get that done. As well, he should. 2.5 seconds is going to separate him and Proctor. Oh, my goodness. We just have a log jam here. Let's see if we can make sense of this. Right now, your second-place driver is Christian Proctor. Zach White right behind him in the 77. He is in third. Ledesma is right there in fourth. Then you've got Raffini. Raffini's in fifth. Now the 67 of Anderson is one lap down. So if a caution comes out, Anderson is your lucky dog because Van Kirk and Dylan is 2 laps down, but Van Kirk is on the tail end of the lead lap since he has now passed your leader of Jacob Wilson. So really with about 26 laps to go, Jacob Wilson just needs to hold this thing firm. And what a huge shakeup. Yeah, Rena, that is tough for Jake. Knocked the whole front end off of that 37 machine. Now, it does look like Proctor's turning a bit better lap time, but I will tell you, he might be turning great lap times, but we have a battle going on here. Oh, no! Heavy into the wall of the 77. That's going to be a caution. 25 laps to go. Zach White really heavy into the wall on the exit of 2. Ledesma nowhere to go. Now that is going to put Van Kirk all the way back around. That is also going to give Alex Anderson in that 67 your lucky dog. So he is going to be at 9th, but he's going to be on the lead lap. Van Kirk is going to be able to come all the way back around. Now the 77 does not have a front end, so he is going to have to stay on pit road for some time. And this is certainly not what Jacob Wilson wanted to see. He had a nice lead over Proctor, over Raffini, over the 77. Altman there in the 94 is going to be fourth. So as these drivers come around, folks, JD Van Kirk is going to be in fifth. And I've got to tell you, from positioning on this track and speed in that car, JD will be your fastest car wanting to come through that field. The 70 might be quicker than the 22, but the 70 right now is 2 laps down. So he is out of it with 22 laps to go, unless we have a string of cautions that can put him on the tail end of the lead lap where he can work his way up. If I am Wilson, I want a good jump. Stay out of the battle with the 13 and stay as far away from that 22 as I possibly can. Five cautions so far tonight, folks. I will tell you, this has been one heck of a race, as now those lights once again are out. This road course ringer here of Jacob Wilson at 51 deciding to come out to this short track. And you know, road racers do really well on short tracks because of the trail braking aspect. No wonder this driver is super quick here tonight. Now, 21 laps. It's going to be 20 to go when Jacob Wilson brings them to the green flag. Proctor on his outside, third right there, Raffini. Altman is going to be in the 94 on the outside of Raffini. Green flag is in the air, and Altman's going to spin the tires. That's going to make him about 3 wide going into the turn. Now Van Kirk, with those drivers spinning the tires, looks like maybe he is going to snag third from Proctor. Proctor's going to drive it in there, hang onto the outside of the 22. 22 just has a great line. Look at that braking line for the 22. He's going to get that passed on. Third position now. Matt is going to slide that in to 72. Now we're 3 wide. We're 3 wide. Ledesma's going to go high to stay out of trouble. Now Nick is going to slide that car sideways. Caution is going to be out once again. Melee all over the track, folks. The 70 now is going to get a lap back. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to Nick. Man, the 72 just really goes after it. He's not able to get that passed on. Nick trying to get through this turn. Ledesma's on that high line. Oh, he just over-rotates. He's going to lock it down and barely touch that wall, but he is going to have to come to a stop and back that thing up. All right, Jacob Wilson, still your leader. 16 laps to go. Now you've got JD that is going to be right behind the 51. Raffini's going to be on the outside. Alex Anderson's right there in 7th, so he is still fighting. Jay-Z saying poor bomb. Yeah, that was tough. He's had front end damage this entire race. All right, so the 70 machine is going to be down pit road as well. He is getting pit service done. So is Nick. And now you're probably going to see those lights go out. Yes, they do. So we are going to go back to green with 13 laps to go. Hopefully these drivers can hang on to it. Keep it together for just a few more laps and this race will be over. 6th caution of the night. We are going to come to your 7th green flag. Pace car now off. We need a nice, good, clean start. No one spinning those tires. We're going to pan it out for you. Oh, Raffini's going to do it. Raffini is going to spin the tires. And I believe, folks, Dylan might be your lucky dog one more time. He is going to get that lap back and be on the tail end of the lead lap in 9th position, but much, much further up as it looks like Raffini is going to take a lot of drivers with him. Really easy to see what happened here. That's one of those things you want to test that before your green flag comes out. And there he goes. He's going to shift. And that's when it hooks right on him. Oh, and it bounces right into 72. Ledesma, big hit. 13's going to get into it. 13's going to have a bad deck lid. The 04, no front end. We're going to say, what a crazy night. It really is a crazy night. 7th caution. 10 laps to go. We're going to do this thing one lap at a time, Rena, and it might be under caution, but we're going to get this thing done. Yeah, Rachel, I got to tell you, you should have been biting your fingernails off. I feel like that was a great spot for JD to be in. 3rd on that field. It really is not the right position to be in, starting on the outside. But he is going to have to do that right now because he is going to start this next green flag run off on the outside row here in 2nd. As now Jacob Wilson is going to bring them down one more time. And then you're going to have Matt right there in that 72. He is going to be in 3rd. Christian Proctor, with that heavy damage, he is going to choose to stay out. He does not have a spoiler on the back end of that 13, so I'm not sure how that thing is going to handle. So here we go. Wilson bringing them down one more time. He is on the loud pedal. JD with a nice, steady. Oh, and now Altman is going to get into the wall. Caution out again. That might not have picked anyone up but the 94. Let's go back and take a look. It looks like everything is square here. And here comes the shift. Right there, you see it dive. And there you go. We have some very loose race cars on these restarts. So now the 94, he is going to be in the pits. We only have a handful of cars left out here on this racetrack, folks. You've got Wilson, Van Kirk, Baines, Proctor, Alex Anderson, and Raffini. Raffini without a front end. Zach White, he is up to 7th. He doesn't have a front end. Dylan is going to be in 8th. 5 laps to go. And now the 77 or 72 is starting to blink. You know that Jacob in that 51, you know Van Kirk in the 22. Both of these drivers really want this thing to go green so they can race this thing out, and maybe they will be able to. You're going to have a green-white checker here. All right, so here we go. Pace car off one more time. Wilson bringing them down once again. Oh, now it looks like the 72 is going to get loose. Almost 3 wide. That's not going to happen. He's going to shoot up to the top. Christian Proctor way out of position. 3 laps to go here. Van Kirk just with a attempt or 2 to get this pass done. He's going to look low, not a whole lot there, and it looks like the 72 might have went into that turn once again. Sliding through the entry of that turn, and that is going to bring us to another overtime position. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened this time here, folks. All right, the 72, I think he dives this thing right in. He's in the wall. He's okay there, and just over braking. That's twice that he's done. That's going to get heavy impact to the 67. Dylan is going to get hit as well. Christian Proctor's around. Martinsville is paying. I see 3 cars right behind these top 2 that do not have front clips on them at all. All right, we're going to have the lights go out on the pace car. We're going to try to do this thing one more time. It looks like we're going to extend this yet another lap here as we're going to wait for everybody to get on and off of pit road. Rachel saying she's afraid to watch. I'll tell you, Rachel, he's going to have Jacob is going to have to get off of that bottom line, and I don't think he's going to do that. He certainly wouldn't do it on purpose. JD's going to have to get him out of that line by force or by the 51 making a mistake, and I don't think JD is that kind of driver, and I'm not sure if the 51 can make that kind of mistake. I just think JD needed those 10 or 15 laps earlier to get this pass done. But Who am I? I'm just up here in the booth. I am not the racers. These guys out here on the track, they certainly are. And they are going to try this thing one more time here. We are in overtime. Trying to get this race completed. Oh, now it looks like the 72 is going to get in the wall again. Now Nick Raffini is going to be right underneath of JD. I don't think Nick has got the front end to hang on, but he very well might. This is exactly what the 51 wants to see. As now JD is going to have to hold on. White flag is out. JD going to drive it in nicely into that turn. Now Raffini is going to get high, and now he's going to move Raffini. Oh, and Alex Anderson tries to cut down, and he is going to get cut off by Proctor. What a wild finish. Now the 94 is going to be in a battle. I just don't know how you're going to shake that out. Jacob Wilson is going to be your winner. Dylan is in that 70 car. He is going to come home in second. And then JD is going to be in third. Now we're going to see if we can watch Jacob burn that thing down. Congratulations, that driver in the 51. He is going to be your winner tonight. Yeah, Sarah, Jacob did a really, really nice job there at the back end of this race, just controlling those restarts, getting that thing done. Rena says, what a race. Congrats to the podium finishers. And then Rachel saying, great job, JD. Yeah, coming home in a podium position. And what a melee there on the last straightaway of that last lap. And we are going to see if we can find some of these drivers, as they might be here in our waiting room. Let's see if we can find somebody and have a conversation with them. I don't see anyone yet, so we're just going to hang on, folks. But let's see if we can go back and take a look at your race results here. We're going to pop that up for you. Jacob Wilson is your winner. Dylan right there in second. JD is going to be in third. Matt in fourth. Altman is going to be in fifth. Zach White in sixth. Alex Anderson seventh. Proctor is going to be in eighth. Nick Baum in ninth. Raffini in 10th. Ledesma in 11th. Jake Raven in 12th. Robert White is going to be in 13th. Kenny in 14th. A start and park, as well as David Shively in 15th. All right. So, a big shakeup tonight. Dylan coming home in second. Dylan with a great momentum going into tonight. He is going to wind up in second position. But what a great win by Jacob Wilson in that 51 machine, just finding his way around this track. He got out front. He controlled those restarts. You know, and one of those things on those restarts was making sure that you did not spin those tires. And he was able to do that and keep that car going down the straightaways on those green flags. And once he was out front, he was able to control that bottom line. And that was really all that he needed to get this victory through the night. But my goodness, what a huge shakeup all the way through this race. And then you've got JD with such a dynamic finish. You know, JD at the very end of that race, you know, he really drove hard on the outside and it looks like got kind of tangled up at least twice there. And melee behind him, Rex happening behind him, able to bring that thing home in third. I really thought he had the best car late that was in the top on the lead lap, and he was able to prove that. And then you've got Dylan starting on the pole, leading really flag to flag the first half of this race, coming down and getting caught up with that black flag, getting 2 laps down, and then able to come back and get a second place finish. Really nice job by him. And then you got Jacob Wilson bringing home that victory. Now, we do have a couple of drivers out here in the interview booth. So let's see if we can bring them into the broadcast room and have a quick conversation with them. JD, this is John. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, what a crazy night. We were talking out there in chat, and I just felt like with Dylan getting that black flag on pit road, I felt like you had the quickest car there before all of those, restarts happen, those caution flags. But one, walk me through the race, and two, I got to feel like you wanted, with about 10 laps to go, you wanted that thing to go green.
Oh, I definitely wanted it to stay green the rest of the way. I feel like I had enough car left to be able to get around Jacob, but that was something for sure. That was a heck of a race. I was expecting it to have a lot more cautions. I was not expecting to have to try and do green flag pit stops at Martinsville.
Yeah, yeah, no, a lot of people were not expecting that. It looks like they handed out, Jake in the 37 got a black flag, so did the 70. So I don't think a lot of people were expecting that, but you did have a nice hot rod tonight. It looked like you were managing. A lot of drivers were locking up that right front tire, getting onto and into turns 1 and 3. You didn't really have that problem tonight. It looks like you were just rotating center very well, but man, just a little bit short tonight. But what can you say, man? Coming home with a podium finish here with a top 3.
Yeah, I was definitely a challenge not to lock the tires up going into the corners. There were a few times that I definitely slid it in a little hot, but I just kept putting a little more rear brake in the car and hoping that I didn't spin it. It was just a matter of trying to be consistent and keep hitting my marks, and that's usually where I end up falling short towards the end of a long run. But no, it was a lot of fun tonight for sure.
Well, listen, man, you put this thing in a podium position. I know you've got a lot of fans out there. Rachel watches you every single week. We certainly appreciate you coming out here, putting that beautiful machine up here in a top 3. JD, we'll turn it over to you and let you give your shout outs.
I appreciate it. I just want to say hi to everybody that's watching, that puts up with me doing all of this. And you guys for putting this broadcast on. You guys do an amazing job. Do want to apologize to Nick Raffini. Did not mean to get into the back of him. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'll have to go back and watch the replay and figure it out. That was not my intention to get into the back of him, though. But all in all, great night, and looking forward to next week.
Yeah, fantastic job, and congratulations on a top 3 finish here at Martinsville.
Thank you.
All right, so there is your third place driver. Now, we do have your second place in Dylan. So let's see if we can bring Dylan up, and then we are going to have a quick conversation with him. Dylan, this is John in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, John.
Well, up and down night. I mean, fantastic qualifying run. Great run that first half of the race. And then was that a speeding on pit entry or exit?
It was on entry. I don't know if something changed when they updated the track. It used to it would pop up what the pit road speed was. So I thought it was 40. I was incorrect. The problem was it didn't tell me it was 35 until I had already crossed the cones. And by then I slammed on the brakes. It was just too late. So, and I was just talking to some people. It's crazy that iRacing hasn't updated that to a drive-through penalty like it is in real life. Because the 40-second penalty at Martinsville cost me 3 laps, and it's the same exact penalty if we were racing Talladega, and it wouldn't have cost me a lap at all. So it's kind of brutal that that's how the system's set up, but it kind of is what it is. It's been like that, and they refuse to change it no matter how much people ask.
Well, I will tell you, it looked like you had control of this race. It seemed like the 67 on that first green flag run was able to kind of hold serve. It looked like you were about out to about a second and a half lead. And then it seemed like you might have been managing tires, managing that gap for a while. And then we have those green flag pit stops, all hell break loose. And then you were able, through all of those string of cautions, to get your laps back and just come home in second. And sometimes we're great, sometimes we're lucky, sometimes we're a bit of both. And I feel like tonight, maybe you had a bit of both of that going for you.
Yeah, I definitely think we had the car to beat by far. Alex was close. I could kind of get out to that, like you said, second and a half lead and kind of manage. The left front would get real hot and wanted to lock up, so it really affected. So I'd start backing the corner up a little bit, let it cool off, just in case he got a run there. So I definitely think we had the car to beat. And then once that unfortunate pit road speeding penalty happened so late, it did take a little bit of luck. I know Matt thinks I drove in there and turned him around, and he can kind of think whatever he wants about that. But it didn't do me any favors by turning him. I was going to drive by him and Jacob and get that lap back regardless. If anything, it kind of hurt because wasn't able to get one of them back before a caution. Um, so I think I've spent enough time up front in these races to know that when the whole field is pitted and I'm on 105-ish lap tires, that it's probably smart to let the cars on 3 lap tires just go, because you put yourself in that risk, especially when there's 3 wide behind you trying to work around you. But it is what it is. He can run the bottom, and you run the chance of getting kind of moved. Unfortunately, I definitely didn't mean to, but we were significantly faster at that point. So just took a little bit of luck and a few cautions. We were able to get back on the lead lap and just needed one more restart.
Yeah, it did look that way. It looked like maybe one more restart and you'd have been in a great position. But what a battle back coming through that black flag. Couple of cautions, a flurry of cautions right there at the end, put you back on the lead lap, all the way back to second as your march for redemption and for a repeat in this championship continues. Congratulations here on a second place, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for broadcasting. Thank you for everybody watching. Thank you to all the drivers that showed up, all the admins that put this on, Trisha's Learning Center for sponsoring the league. Um, I was hoping to take my own money tonight, so I guess I can thank myself for sponsoring this race tonight. It was 20 to win, 20 for the lowest incident count. And then thank you to everybody over Revved Up, Hyperspeed, Victor Fuel, Floors by Dennis, Circle W Farms, the No Names, and everybody who makes this possible.
Well, you did a heck of a job. Congratulations on a second place finish. We look forward to speaking to you right here this same time next week.
Thank you. It'd be a long shot at the road course.
Thanks, Dylan. All right, so there is your second place driver. Now let's see if we can pull up Jacob, your winner, into this broadcast booth and have a quick word with him. Jacob, this is John. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, it just looked like, listen, you come in and you say, hey, I love road courses. I love road course. You come out here to this short track, and that last half of the race just looked like you had the great track position, ability to get those restarts down. And I got to tell you, one of the things that you really have to watch out for is not over rotating the tires on the start of these. You are able to get great jumps, control the bottom, and just wait these laps out.
Yeah, we pitted early, and I kind of got, I guess because we were running less fuel than what the standard is. My crew chief had said we were good on fuel, so I was like, okay, he had said we were good on fuel like during that green flag run at the beginning, and so I came on into the pits, and we came out, and I was like 10 laps, 8 to 10 laps short, and I was like, oh, okay. So at that point, I knew that I kind of had to just stay out and bide my time. And I knew everybody else that didn't stay out, that stayed out, had to pit. And luckily, we got that long green flag run. They had to pit under green, which is, kind of the kiss of death here at Martinsville if a caution comes out after you've pitted. And so we trapped a lot of those guys a lap down. And, that was kind of what I had to do. to even have a chance probably tonight. I definitely didn't have the fastest car, but I felt pretty solid, and we'd kind of methodically worked our way up um, throughout the night. This track is actually my home track um, on the Cup circuit anyway, and I live about 40 minutes from the track, and so I've gone there my entire life. So this one's pretty special to win, and um, I actually did more short track racing on iRacing for probably the first 3 years. I did a lot of late model stocks, and Martinsville is one of my best tracks statistically on iRacing. So pretty happy to come away with the win tonight. This one's pretty special.
Well, I will tell you, Jacob, the stats are certainly going to be in your favor tonight as you're going to pick up that win. And we talked about it a little bit about midway through this race, and really, those drivers that do well on road, there's one thing that works well with them, and that's really trail braking and working the trail brakes. And I really feel like short tracks help that, and road course helps that, and those that drive and do so well on road can also do that well on short tracks because of being able to trail brake. We had a lot of lockups on the right front tires of a lot of these drivers tonight as they threw it in those turns. Look like you said, you were methodically just smoothly working your way through, just keeping that car underneath of you. And do you believe that philosophy holds true, that road and maybe short tracks are very similar in that regard?
Yeah, I think especially here at Martinsville, with the long straightaways and the tight corners, I've been working really hard on my road racing recently because I really want to get better at it. I really enjoy doing it. And I've had some strong runs in the stock cars, especially in some of the leagues I've been running. Um, didn't haven't always had the finishes, but I've definitely have been in contention for a couple of late. And so I definitely think running sports cars and stuff. I feel like I haven't gotten the results that I want yet, but when I come back over to the stock car world, I really see the gains, and I think you know I noticed a lot of the guys were locking up, and I felt like I would every now and then, but I felt really smooth on the brakes tonight. The car felt really good. Out of the few races I've ran this season, this has probably has been my favorite setup. And I'm not saying that just because I won tonight, but like I talked to my guys earlier, and I was like, this car feels really good. A lot of the times with the setups that I've ran here at Martinsville, like you have to put so much wheel into it, like that it's so like snappy loose off the corner because it's so tight. But this car really rotated the center really good, and I felt really confident on throttle. Um, on corner exit. So I was pretty happy with the setup tonight. I would have been happy with the top five. I finished top five every race that I've ran this season, and 2 wins out of I guess I'm at a 50% win rate now this season. So I'll take it. I can't complain. It's been nice to just kind of come in and be successful after kind of grinding out this league for 3 or 4 seasons and only having one previous win before this season. Um, it's nice to have two in 1 year. So
Well, listen, and we've got to think you might be the favorite here to pick up a third next week because we are going road course racing. But fantastic job here tonight at Martinsville. Way to put another check in that box of some of these places that you want to win at. And Jacob, congratulations again, man. We'll turn it over to you, let you give your shout outs.
yeah, I gotta thank all my sponsors, Circle W Farms. They're just right up the road from Martinsville Speedway, around Rocky Mount area. So, gotta thank them. I gotta thank Floors by Dennis. They're also in the Franklin County area. So glad to have them on board tonight with this win. Also the No Names, and just all my family, friends, all my supporters that watch these races. I had a bunch of people in the broadcast tonight. I know my dad was watching, and a couple other folks, my wife, and a bunch of people were watching tonight. So I'm happy that I could put it in victory lane tonight at Martinsville, home track. I don't know what's going to happen at the street course, but we'll see.
That we will. No matter what happens, Jacob, it will be here same time. It never rains in the sim, so we are going to have a race next week, and we look forward to speaking to you again. Same time, same place, hopefully in the same position.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish it would rain in Chicago. I want them rain. I want them rain tires. Bring it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Come on, Irene.
I don't think Kitty's going to put this thing to rain, but we can put a little bug in his ear. I think it's most of the people are going to do well just to hang on to that thing. But congratulations
Yeah, I
again
will be too.
on a fantastic win.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so there is your winner, folks. Jacob Wilson bringing home the checkered flag here at Martinsville. And as you heard, all of these drivers, we are going road course racing next week at Chicago. Same time, same place. Make sure you tune in. We certainly appreciate you watching us here on Royalty Racing Network. And if you appreciated and liked this stream and this broadcast, we certainly would appreciate maybe a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not. I am John Ross, your broadcaster. We are going to talk to you next week. Again, congratulations to all of your podium finishers here at Martinsville at Top Tier Racing.